open their season a week from Sunday against the Jets. What have people you've talked to him? Because there are some who might say if he doesn't have a new deal, he should not play. He should not step foot on that field. There's something called a hold in now that players will do. They don't hold out, but they hold in. You have an injury all of a sudden and you don't play. What have the people you've talked to in Baltimore told you about that?
Lamar Jackson has been remarkable in the building, on the field. He's practicing. He looks great. When I've had some text message exchanges with some players as late as or early as yesterday, the plan is for him to be the starter against the New York Jets at MetLife Stadium. So unless something changes between now and then, the team is going about their business. They're in meetings. They're preparing. They're doing all their game prep as if Lamar Jackson will be under center. So translation to me is Lamar Jackson is going to go out on the field with or without a contract. We don't know that for a fact until we see him in his uniform in New Jersey, but that seems to be the plan at this point. And, you take a look at some of these contract extensions with these quarterbacks, Mike, that have been, completed over the last few weeks. And I'm shocked, actually, that they haven't equaled the Deshaun Watson guaranteed money, because Mike Tannenbaum's perspective on this from a business side was a sentiment shared by a lot of agents I talked to. I'm not signing my quarterback up anything less than what Deshaun Watson got. So the fact that Denver was able to get Russell Wilson, new owners, by the way, remember 3 weeks ago, brand new ownership here, came in and was able to get this deal done. This is a really big win for owners in the NFL today.
Let me get Marcus in here. Marcus, because I have had players, the old way of thinking anyway, is you don't set foot on that field without an extension. Are you okay? Marcus Spears is a human being just caring about another one, about a football player and a human being who stands to make, money beyond almost anyone's wildest imagination. Are you okay with him playing this season without an extension?
No, I'm not okay. I understand that we in a different time. And to Bart's point, what we've been talking about, you can still get paid based on the Dak Prescott, but I'm not okay. Listen, man, we know this game is fleeting. We know how serious of nature and physicality that this game entails and what you may go through or may not. And very rarely are we seeing injuries that's ending guys' careers, but we are seeing injuries that's hurting guys' money. And that is the one thing, like my heart of hearts. And G, I'm glad you asked the question that way, because what I've seen from Lamar with him participating and being there, it hadn't thrown me back to how I thought 3 or 4 years ago, where Lamar crazy, he out of his mind. I'm not there, but I would suggest, look, man, get this money, get this deal done, because ultimately, this your livelihood. And let me tell y'all something, man, as much as people ain't gonna want to hear this, that damn Super Bowl ring ain't gonna pay no bills. That trophy, that MVP trophy ain't gonna pay no bills. When you get to the point where you start talking about generational wealth and changing your life and legacy and also generations of your family life, you gotta be very cautious about how you move. This is one decision that could determine 2 to 3 generations for Lamar Jackson's family. Now, I don't believe he's going to suffer a catastrophic injury, but none of us ever do, especially as football players. We don't ever think in that way. But I just, like as a brother, if I was his brother or a family member, I'd be like, hey, man, you need to think about going out here and playing before you get this money tied up. And lastly, like, I understand the Ravens side of this. Like, I'm not going to be naive. If you want to throw Lamar Jackson $215 million guaranteed and he's saying no to that, as an organization, you can feel slighted, because that's a lot of money. And the anomaly in Cleveland, obviously, if you basing that off of how you're going to negotiate as an agent, I think a lot of these guys are going to be in for a rude awakening.
Let me ask, Bart, I know you want to get in on that, but there's something I need to ask you. Yeah. Because you are very connected to the Ravens and you understand the dynamics of things that are going on. Yeah. And I've not gotten your perspective, because we don't hear much from Lamar on this. Right. And we have actually heard stunningly little about these negotiations in total, because there's no agent involved. None of the places leaks usually come from are involved here. So when you see Lamar go on social media earlier this week and say, no, they didn't offer me $250 million, when you see him liking a picture of himself in a Dolphins uniform, what does that mean?
I mean, it's no different than what Aaron Judge is saying when he told the little kid not to, worry. He can always be a fan of Aaron Judge.
Right.
It's just, it's passive aggressive, right? And that's what's happening right now. But listen, to go.
Is that a problem?
No, not to me. We all understand that what he's doing. He's trying to defend himself without really coming out and saying much. But when you go back to what Marcus was saying, here's why it's not a big deal to me, right? First of all, Lamar Jackson's 25 years old. He's a young player. Whether the contract is guaranteed or not, nobody's cutting the franchise player. Yeah. He's going to see the life of that contract regardless. I understand that there's no such thing. There's no such thing. He's going to get another contract. That's the funny part about it. This is just the beginning. Like Patrick Mahomes is going to get another contract. But this is what you do. You're still going to get your money. At least everybody knows that back in the day, it used to be the Raiders that used to go crazy. They used to guarantee.
His leadership, he got a new contract. Cliff Kingsbury got extended. Keim got extended. And you are doing the first 6 weeks of this season without DeAndre Hopkins. You bring over Hollywood. We will see if Kyler Murray is taking this next step maturity to be the ultimate leader for the Cardinals.
Diana, who are you watching week 1?
Mike, we have talked about Tua on this show for 6 months straight. Some of it because we know the pressure's on, and they've made some really good changes. They've got some excellent additions there in Miami, and Tua needs to perform. Obviously, with the addition of Tyreek Hill. I am so over talking about Tua. I can't wait to see it.
And he's not the only Alabama quarterback in that game. Mike T, who are you watching?
Mac Jones, same game, same position, same school. We've talked so much also about play calling, and Mac Jones can erase all the noise and go out and play really good football on opening day against a really good Dolphin team on the road in the elements in Miami, and I'm fascinated to watch him go.
They will be in Miami, but New England is where I knew we were going to head next because it has been an offseason with so many questions for the Patriot offense. But Mac Jones sounds like he doesn't have any concerns. Listen.
I think we've ironed out a lot of things, and it's good that they're happening now, and I feel confident in what we're doing. We just got to go out there and do it for 60 minutes.
So, I mean, look, let me start with Mike T on this one because you have been the big believer in Mac Jones. While I've had so many people, both on the air and off in my presence, question what New England might be doing and in Bill we trust and all the rest of that, you remain steadfast. Why?
He played really well last year. He led the team to the playoffs and played well against the Bills in the playoff game. And when you look at what they do well, Greeny, is they can run the ball. They got 2 really good tight ends. Their receiver core isn't great, but it's solid. Losing Tyron Thornton is concerned because he was the rookie from Baylor that had a lot of speed. But Mac Jones won't make mistakes. He won't turn it over. And they're going to be a hard team to beat. They're not going to be explosive, but they're not going to have self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah, and that's fair. And they're well coached. And Marcus, I mean, we give Bill Belichick the benefit of the doubt. As well we should. But as far as the roster, I'll just put this out there for what it's worth. When ESPN ranked the top 100 players in the National Football League, do you know how many of them play for the Patriots? 0. Do you know how many teams had 0 players on that list? 5. The others were the Jaguars, the Lions, the Giants, and the Jets. So that's, at least in the eyes of the people on the outside, Marcus, what we think Bill is working with. What are they going to be?
All right, let me get this nipped in the bud because I'm sick of it. I've been watching shows and hearing it. Let's stop acting like Mac Jones' season last year was God's gift to football. Let's just pause on that for a second. Yeah, he played well for a rookie. He did some things, but I think anybody that watched tape knows that Mac Jones was highly insulated in an offense that was run dominant, and they didn't ask him to do much. At times, when we saw Mac Jones have to kind of come out of his shell and push the ball downfield and be a passer for a large majority of the game, we saw some mistakes as expected about a rookie. I do think he's going to take a step forward. I do believe that Mac Jones is a good to solid quarterback. But let's not get in this conversation like it's a wildly bet behind this offensive line, and he's not dealing with unknowns of knowing what his offensive coordinator situation is going to be. A second-year quarterback that had a solid season as a rookie, not something to write home about, because I remember having this conversation about a rookie in Cleveland who broke all the damn rookie records, and now he on another team. So let's take a break and figure out what's going to happen with Mac Jones when he's called upon to carry this offense like he was not last year.
The best thing about Marcus is you never have to wonder where he stands. So that's what he thinks. Diana, what do you think?
Well, I think a lot of the Mac Jones success story that we talk about here on the show is because we compared him to the other rookies, and he was that much better. And I think that's probably why we give him the benefit of the doubt there and why we talk so highly about him. But, Mike, I've been covering the Patriots for a long time now, and I've never been part of covering an off-season like this, where it just doesn't feel like the Patriot way. It doesn't feel organized. It doesn't seem like they have a plan. And look, maybe the mastermind Bill Belichick wants us to all believe in this chaos and wants other teams and other coaches, because I've had conversations with other teams about the New England Patriots, like, what do you think about them? And they all say the same thing, like, what is going on up there? They haven't figured it out yet. And I appreciate Mac Jones being the leader of the team, saying we've ironed it out and all that. He's saying all the right things. He's a great kid. You ironed it out, and a couple